And the last webinar that we did, actually we had this forecast and prediction, right? So projection trending number one is that these 7 large size launches will be highly anticipated because those projects with more than 500 units, they will be highly anticipated by a lot of buyers. And because this year, although there are 47 units, but above 500 units, there are not a lot. And of course, Tembusu Grand is one of it because there are 638 of them. We also project that 2 betas will do very well because of the quantum play effect. However, this is my own personal forecast, is that in 4 years later, when all these projects TOP, the 3 betas and 4 betas will still be the easier ones to exit because the demand is still there and there's very little of them.
Right. So will these 2 beta be what the 1 beta are facing back then? Entry price is one of the lowest, but right now they face an oversupply of 1 beta.
So if I were to look at this,
yes,
my only concern is, of course, when all these properties TOP 4 years later, it will add on to the current supply. Okay, so we've got to end this part. 2014 to 2022 belongs to this portion here. My only concern is that there's going to be a lot of quantity of properties here in this segment, right, which is the 500 to 699 square feet. So it will add on to the total pool. They will have a bigger competition when it comes to selling, but I think rental has no issue, right? So I think it's a great dividend play. You can hold it. If you are staying in it, I think that's fine. But if you want to exit, you're going to face a little bit more competition from the same owners that bought into the same project as you, as well as all the other launches around you. But if you are holding on to something like that, you will always attract buyers that are coming from different spectrum. Maybe HDB upgraded with a lot of CPF and cash. Maybe somebody that is living in another resale made profit and then they want to move to this project, or maybe a landed downgrader that wants to buy a 3 and 4 beta. So yeah, that's my take. What about you, George? You want to say something?
Yeah, because I think this one, of course, tells us about the size, but it doesn't tell us the number of bedrooms. So last time, some of the 1 beta, they might be within the 500 plus square feet because they have planter, they have balcony, they have bay window.
Yes.
But as we see the floor plan evolve, which I think we have a series that you talk about the evolvement of the floor plan. Right now, what we are seeing is the floor plan are extremely efficient.
Correct.
There's no bay window, there's very well utilized balcony. Even the balcony can be utilized, and dumbbell. So you can achieve the similar size, but maybe with additional bedroom. And talking about bedroom, I think for Tembusu Grand, the interesting thing is for 2 beta, they only have 2 bed, 2 bath. They do not have a 2 bed, 1 bath.
Great. Yeah, I think you are right because we don't have the exact bedroom types, which is something that maybe we can get our research team to help us a little bit with as well. Wayne, you were not with us during the last Nuggets on the Go banter, right? I want to show this very fantastic research by our research team. Basically, this tells us a little bit, not all, but it tells us a little bit about the behavior of owners that bought into some of the launches 3 to 4 years ago. So
And the speed of exit.
Speed of exit. So we're trying to ascertain the buyers nowadays for new launches, are they speculators or are they buying for own stay? Or are they buying for rental play to hold it for long? And we realized that actually over the past 3 years, 2018, 19, 20, if you look at the total percentage of people that sell immediately when they take their keys, which is the yellow color one, within 1 year, within 2 years, actually the percentage is very little. And 8 out of 10 people that bought into new launches back then, actually they buy to stay and to hold. So I think it's getting a little bit more sticky, probably because they have waited for 3-4 years. Then they want to live in it as well, and they want to enjoy the new product. What do you think, Wayne?
I'm not too sure about this number because I think we have to correlate to the pandemic years, the COVID period, whereby there wasn't much of the foreigners as in Singapore that can actually rent the place. So that probably could also result in them having to hold on to it. And also the 1 beta and 2 beta, the smaller units, are also, as comparison to the bigger units, are lesser in quantity. So the numbers will definitely be much lesser in comparison in terms of percentage to the bigger size units, which will definitely make up the main own stay units, kind of like proportion. So if you look at the years of 2020, 2021, the number of rentals probably will not be a lot. So that may be the reason why, I mean, for the smaller units numbers, it may not be that number of percentage are higher in terms of the sale, I feel. So I felt that the numbers is being reflected this way is because I think first and foremost, the number of units distribution and the units mix are for smaller size units versus the bigger size units.
Back then.
Yeah, it could be lesser. So the numbers could reflect that actually the bigger size units is more for own stay and people probably will sell maybe like 2 to 3
Okay, I got it. Okay. So what you're trying to say is that during this season, because that was the previous 5-year season, there were, okay, so maybe you can name some projects, like example, riverfront residences and all that season, right? There were more 3-beders. Correct. But the smaller units were lesser in quantity.
Correct.
Compared to now, there seems to be more smaller units being created.
In a way, smaller units more, but I think it's also, in relative to the total number of units mix, it's still lesser. Right. So when you plot it against numbers and percentage point, right, the larger units will definitely stand a higher percentage point, which are generally more for own stay buyers who don't really flip.
There's a very good thought process in the sense that we can further break it down to see that over the last few years, right, what was the percentage mix of the size and the bedroom types, right? Okay. However, if you notice this season, I'm not sure, like you look at botany, right? The number of 1-bedder is also not a lot. Is it a lot, botany?
No, one plus study is only 1 stack only.
Yeah.
So if you look at botany, there's no more 1-bedder. 1 plus study is 36 units. There are 36 units, then predominantly 2-3. So it seems that the strategy now is to focus on 2 and 3-bedder, right? So if you come back to Tembusu Grand, and when we look at the pricing, okay, my take is D15 has always been like a freehold area. You talk to people in D15, the first perception they have is that you have a freehold project, right? Of course, over the years, there are groundbreakers. There are a lot of high-rise properties along the sea coast that has challenged the 99 years. And of course, a lot of the 99 years projects have also done well. For example, like Seaside Residences, it has done well. A lot of owners made a lot of very healthy gain there. So I don't think it will be a challenge for the properties to be sold. Second thing is that I think the good thing is that these are all high-rise properties. The only thing is, I think because of the fact that there's this project, Continent, so the comparison becomes a little bit more intense, and they're all launched within the first half of this year. People will definitely try to look at maybe Tembusu Grand in terms of overall quantum versus this Continent, which is at the Butterworth area. You can technically walk
to
I'm
Paya
not sure, maybe
Lebar.
10 odd minutes to Paya Lebar MRT,
Yeah.
PLQ.
Correct.
Dunman Grand has no issue. I mean, it's beside Dakota
just right
MRT.
beside MRT.
And for Dunman Grand, this is the largest project, above 1,000. Xing Ai has, I think, a lot of experience developing big projects, right? And then I was trying to think about the performance of Dakota Residences as well, Waterbank and Dakota, and those two projects did very well as well. So surprisingly, the Dakota belt, fronting towards the landed properties, this is a very beautiful belt because if you've been to Waterbank, you've been to Dakota, you look towards if you get the view looking towards the landed, it is super windy. It is extremely windy. The sea breeze that's coming in, but at the same time, you're not too close to the sea and you have like good food and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I think it's going to be a very tough fight over here because of this freehold component. And the PSF is close because the disparity is about $200-300. So I think the developers will definitely be strategizing on the overall quantum. And maybe just based on this, George, if you were to go for a 3-bedder, which one will you go for? Which project?
For a 3-bedder, okay, so my thoughts is this. Because we are in an area, right, where you have a bit of unblocked, but it's not entirely unblocked.
Which one? Tembusu?
For Tembusu, because you have a clear distance, but all the way until Amber, if you were to put out the map, all the way until Amber, that is where your view will be blocked, right? So to me, I will feel that, okay, since my view will be blocked, I don't need to go for a super high floor. I might as well go for maybe a lower floor unit at Continent, at the freehold. In my opinion, I think we digress a bit. Why Seaside, I think, does well is also because surrounding, right, the belts are majority also 99 years.
Okay, so you're talking about which side will be blocked? Towards the head court area?
No,
No,
down all the way
south
down.
towards Tembusu.
Towards Tembusu. Okay,
No,
so
sorry, towards Amber. Towards Amber.
Okay, so this is basically, these are all basically north-south facing units. If we talk about Amber,
now we are facing towards west. Yeah, south is facing towards Canadian.
So you're talking about
International.
these two
Yes.
properties, okay.
Correct.
So Amber and the Esta, lah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. So you're talking about the fact that up to that range, it will be blocked already.
Of course, the distance is still pretty good, you know. So, in my opinion, I would say that okay, based on price quantum, if the price jump isn't that significant, I might just go for the Continuum.
Okay, understand.
Purely thinking from the exit perspective, lah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how about Wayne? I mean, like if you look at this, which product will you go for? These three.
I'll go for Dunman though.
Go for
Personally,
Dunman.
I'll go for Dunman.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the location, the close proximity to the train station,
MRT
and
station.
I still got a very good anchor from the school from that side as well. So, and definitely the view, I believe there'll definitely be bound to have one 3-bedder view that's going to be facing towards the landed view.
Right.
So in terms of the lifestyle, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the exit, I feel personally, that Dunman Grand will have a better exit.
Right. So is it also because Dunman Grand has above 1,000 units? Like what are you typically looking for? I mean, okay, it has two schools.
correct.
One is of course Konghua,
Konghua,
right?
right.
What
Yeah,
is the
that's
other
right.
school? Dunman Grand.
I think the other school will then be Hague Girls.
Okay, we can double confirm that. How about Continuum? Continuum has any 1 kilometers range from schools?
Yes, Guanghua, Hague Girls, Tanjong Katong, I believe will also be within the 1 km radius.
Okay, right. So Wayne, coming back to this, you mentioned that Dunman Grand, what's your top priority when it comes to the selection of a new launch property? Is it MRT station? Is it size of the unit? The density of the project? Like, what are you hunting for?
I'm definitely going for the exit, and of course plus also the amenities as well. So personally, I definitely want to go for a place that has close proximity to at least food, your
Is the MRT station very important for you?
MRT station. Yes, it is important to me because especially if I'm buying a 3-bedders, I've got children, and if let's say I do not want to fetch my children to school and stuff like that, so they can basically go for the public transport, which is just within walking distance to the MRT station.
And there's longevity, right? When they go
course.
to tertiary and all that.
And the fact that with 1,000 over units, of course, there'll be some people who are a bit worried about the kind of like unit size because they may face competition when they're trying to exit. So, but to me personally, I like this kind of like size because it actually helps to push up the pricing whenever there's transactions.
Right.
Correct. And I think ultimately it's really the location that make that decision for me for Dunman Grand.
What Wayne was talking about when it comes to the transactions pushing up the valuation is because of this volume effect. So in PRB, we have our own analytics system. Basically, this is our own proprietary system. We come with 10 points in terms of analyzing different types of new launches. So if you have not seen what is more analysis, we have a couple of explainer videos on PRB YouTube channel. The very first one and most important one to us is the volume effect, because over the last 16 years as we sell and invest in properties for our clients, we noticed that when it comes to valuation, because before you buy or sell any resale properties, you need to call your banker to ask what's the valuation. And valuation is so crucial in Singapore because Singapore is such a small country and our land is scarce. We have only 340,000 private non-landed residential properties, meaning condos and apartments. And when it comes to selling, we realize that our valuation system in Singapore is based highly, in terms of weightage, is placed very high on the transaction volume in that project. So sometimes even your neighboring projects are doing well. Your project, if there are no transactions, your valuation is stagnated.
Mission control, we have liftoff.